What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. Sitting across from me this week and every week, 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42, it's Desra. Yeah, I know.
I never watched that.
Do you know how many people out there are like, oh, it's so cool?
It's cool, yeah. Cool. I didn't watch that. Yeah. So, and sitting across from me, of course, is Brian Paul.
I never actually watched far enough to learn what the numbers meant.
I don't think anyone did.
Spoilers.
With lottery numbers.
Spoilers.
Actually, wasn't that a thing where someone actually, like, there was this place where, like, 10,000 people won the lottery because it ended up being the lost numbers, but because that many people won, it was only like $10 a person.
It's a Lost reference.
Yeah. Anyways.
Lost
on me.
From like 20 years ago.
Lost on Paradise.
And every week on Why We Love PlayStation VR,
we hit the mics.
Mikey.
It wasn't me this time.
Yeah. Mikey Diaz style. We pull out a PlayStation VR game from the archives.
Yes.
We examine it.
We do.
Check it out with a fine-tooth comb.
See if anything's changed.
See if it's been updated, patched, loved, or hated.
Yes.
And we go through it and talk about it and try to figure out if it's worth your time.
Right.
That's the best I got.
And this week we're talking about one that's, I think, been one of the most requested ones we've had. A lot of people have been asking for this.
The only reason we do anything is because people ask us to. That's the reason I'm wearing the pink tie. Can't believe I wore a pink tie for you. Okay, patreon.com/withoutparolegames, I wore the tie for you. $1 a month. Okay?
Wait, does that mean if they pay $1 a month, they get to determine what you wear?
Maybe collectively.
Cool.
Yeah. That being said, Des, what game did we decide to talk about this week?
We're talking about the Solus project by...
Oh, yeah, by who?
Untitled Studios.
How did you pronounce it?
Untitled?
Is that how you pronounce it?
That's how I was pronouncing it.
Dude, it's by like Untitled Studios, by Grip Digital, but primarily by one dude.
Yes.
Like, there's a few people that made this game, but one dude was the main vision behind this whole thing.
Yeah.
Do you know how to pronounce his name?
I'm not even going to try.
Okay.
Just throw it up in text.
It's Sjoerd Jung.
Sjoerd.
He's a Dutch-Belgian game developer. And he was the founder of Untitled Studios.
Right.
I don't know. I had to actually hear him say it himself so I would get it right. Insane.
Did I hit it?
What did you say?
Untitled?
I don't know.
Okay.
I never heard him say Untitled. I just heard him say, hey, my name is
right.
Sjoerd Jung. Yeah, it's not spelled even remotely close to how you think it is.
Belgian and Dutch mixed up together. There's just no chance that those letters actually represent sounds.
I went to a Belgian-Dutch fusion restaurant the other day.
Really?
No. Are you kidding me? You should have seen the sausages they put on their waffles. Thank you so much. All right, so Des, what kind of game is the Solus project? Yeah, I didn't want to answer this either.
Yeah, at its core, it's a survival game. Mm-hmm. There are some puzzle mechanics, but yeah, it's a survival and exploration game. First person.
Yeah.
I guess if we want to, although first person isn't really a genre, but it describes the action. Basically, you play as a character who does have a name, but it's only mentioned once or twice, and it's really not important. But you are a member of an expeditionary crew. Basically, far future, Earth has been destroyed. We don't really care why.
Not really, no.
All of humanity is stuck basically on these ships and space stations, and we're desperately trying to find a new planet to go settle. So you're on a surveying crew who's going to check out this planet, Gliese 6143C. Hey, hooray.
Sounds good to me.
And as your ship orbits around it, something comes up from the surface, smashes it, and you crash, being what you think is the only survivor of the expedition.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You brought up that it's a survival game.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that you can play this game with zero survival elements. There's it's so customizable in the game before you start it. There's the menu, the options before you start. Mm-hmm. I mean, they give you options for everything. Like you can switch from Fahrenheit or the metric system to whatever it is that
Celsius.
Right. Fahrenheit and Celsius. I was trying to like lump it all together.
Yeah.
But yeah, the metric system to whatever it is we use here in the States. Do we
Imperial.
No, yeah?
Yeah.
No, see, this is why I keep Des around.
The only reason.
You can have the female voice or a male voice on your computer.
And actually, I'm going to note that. Choose the female voice.
Yeah.
Because out of the two, I mean, maybe you don't want to be a female character, whatever, that's your own baggage. But out of the two, the voice acting is way better on the female voice.
Yeah, definitely a lot better. And just to get this out of the way, two move controllers are required.
Yes.
So yes, it is very customizable.
Although, if you play it in 2D, do you need to?
Well, and that's the other thing. Yeah, you can totally play this with a DualShock 4.
Okay.
On the 2D screen.
On the 2D, right.
But as far as I know, who the hell wants to play in 2D? But keep this in mind, right? You need two move controllers, and even on the store, on the PlayStation Store, it says it supports the navigation controller, which doesn't make any sense at all because it doesn't. I promise you that. Yeah. I tried it numerous times, and what it, but the only game I think the navigational controller supports is Dream Match Tennis VR, which is really a strange one. So everybody should be happy in this game because I went in today and I used smooth turning and I turned that speed all the way up. I used full locomotion. I turned that speed all the way up. Man, I was just like running around first person shooter style and man, like in everything moved super fluid. But I did see, and I didn't even try them because it's not my bag. There's teleportation.
Yep, teleportation, and click turning, and all the good stuff. So you can totally play it with that. I did notice, and I don't know, we were talking about it earlier today. I just came back from vacation. I'm kind of wiped out, and I gotta say, like, I was feeling a little weird, like not full on sickness or anything like that. Just something wasn't quite sitting right.
And this is with teleportation.
This is with teleportation and the click turning.
Interesting.
So that may just be like the headspace I've been in the past couple days because I'm pretty exhausted. So take that with a grain of salt. It certainly wasn't like game breaking. I never actually felt sick, but just there was something about, I don't know, maybe the way it resolved when the teleportation finished or something. Something was a little wonky. But again, that could have just been me being wonky.
Anything's possible. But I do have to ask as a follow-up question.
Yes.
Has teleportation and or click turning ever made you sick in any other game?
Not as such.
Okay.
No. I can't think of any.
All right. Well,
no.
We'll look back at this in the future after at some point and see if once you get settled back into your real life.
One other thing I did want to point out that was in the FAQ on the Solus Project website, there is a difference between the 2D and the VR versions. There's actually fewer messages and in-game tutorial content in the VR.
Okay.
There are some messages that just didn't carry over. So it's actually a little more difficult in VR.
Well, it's a pretty difficult game.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, I haven't spent any time. It's not true. I did start the game up at one point in non-VR just to be like, I wonder what this game looks like.
Right.
And I mean, it's a pretty good-looking game. I'll say that, but it's not a game I want to play unless I've got a box strapped to my face.
Yeah.
And it's and so why is it so difficult?
Because survival matters.
Survival matters. So you're constantly you got to sleep.
Right, and the thing is, it's not just like, I'm hungry, I have to find food and all that. It's temperature. It's the planet you're on. The daytime temperatures get us up to like 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Nighttime temperatures can drop to below 30 below. So it's pretty serious. And the suit you're in, if you are in a spacesuit, it's a pretty janky one because it really doesn't protect you from the elements at all. If it rains, you get wet, you get colder faster, you can get hypothermia. There are a lot. It's not just a very simple, like, go back to Minecraft. I've been working a lot. I need to eat food. No, you really need to pay attention to your surroundings. You need to make sure you're staying nice and dry. Make sure you have shelter. It's fairly detailed as far as that goes.
And when you head out, when you decide, it's the rain has stopped. I'm dry. It's time to head back out. Yeah. I mean, you got to really decide what you want to bring with you too, because inventory space is super limited.
It is.
At first, at least, obviously, you can expand that as time goes on. I do like that. There's quite a few, let's call them RPG mechanics, where like you do find like if you're a person who wants to explore every crevice of this world, there's a lot of cool equipment to find that really helps you in your survival.
Oh yeah. There's tons of buffs that'll help you defend you against dehydration, things like that. That help you stay underwater longer and so on. And to the point where, like, on the higher difficulty levels, I don't know if this game is beatable if you don't get all those buffs.
It's crazy. I know a lot of the game cats out there have played through at 100% difficulty. Now, here's the thing. obviously on any game that defaults to a difficulty setting, there's a difficulty slider, 0 to 100, and it defaults on 100.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, this is the way the game wants me to play it. I'm going to play it this way.
Yeah.
And I did that for about 5 hours. And then eventually I was like, I need to actually make some progress in this game.
Right.
I died a lot. Hypothermia, lack of food, lack of water. I mean, you name it, I died from it.
Oregon Trail all over again.
It is the Oregon Trail all over again. Absolutely, except, what is this, the Goliath Trail?
Yeah, no dysentery, though. I didn't get dysentery. Dysentery.
Yeah, I was like...
Sorry.
I thought you were making a joke about dysentery. I was like, did I miss an Oregon Trail joke?
I'm just, I was so happy about getting Teotl right that, yeah.
Okay. So you get this thing with you, right? Like it's like a PDA.
Yeah.
Right. The second you crawl out of the crash.
What am I supposed to be doing? Temperature and stuff. Go to sleep. And what's the other button? Oh, what's that one?
Yeah, it does a lot of things.
Yeah. Anyways,
like you can point this thing at alien language.
Yeah.
And it will translate. Like this is an alien world we've never been on. This is one awesome ass computer.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, that's one kind of like I do love, and I guess we'll get to this in kind of our final judgment section, but I do love the environment it builds. It's very creepy. I'm not a big fan of horror games, but it doesn't do that kind of horror thing. It's just you don't know what's going on. This is an alien world, and you have no information. The fact that you can instantly translate everything that's on the world kind of takes me out of that a little bit. I would like to maybe at least give some lip service to figuring out the language or finding like a Rosetta Stone sort of thing, just to at least explain away that. Maybe it's a nitpicky thing, but to me, like, I liked the idea of the mystery being a mystery and just trying to have to figure out things from the pictures, which there are a lot of pictographs throughout the game as well. So yeah,
it's a pretty incredible PDA that you got going on now, right?
Yeah.
It's like
it's a tricorder.
It is a tricorder. Actually, why didn't I think about that? Because I was tired. And that's kind of it. Like throughout the game, in one hand you've got your tricorder, and in the other hand you've got whatever you're cycling through your inventory. A lot of times a torch. A lot of times you've got a teleporter type thing that you've got. And when I say teleporter, it's actually it's a cool ass device, man. It's not like, oh my god, we're forcing you to teleport. No, you can come up to some bars and be like, how the heck am I going to get through these bars? And you take your teleporter and you shove it through and you shoot a disc and then you click a button and suddenly you're standing on that disc. It's like it's
sometimes it just doesn't let you do it. It's just an invisible wall, not actual bars.
There's that too.
Yeah,
you can poke your head through though in VR and cheat.
But it's very open world with the linear story. That makes sense. And you can approach things totally different. Like speaking of the teleporter, before the show we were talking, and I came up with a kind of a solution that Brian never thought of. It's like I would find a nice safe hidey hole that was warm and dry and cozy, and I would just leave the way the gun works is you drop a teleport disc, then you walk around wherever you want, hit the button, and you'll jump back to where the teleport disc was.
Yeah, and I always found it like real helpful in like very immediate circumstances. Like I just want to quickly get from here over to there, and I don't know how to jump this ledge, right? But you had some long-term ideas.
Yeah, so I would just get to a point where I would have that safe, so if I ever got myself in a dangerous situation, or I was caught outside in a storm, or I started drowning, which happened once, I'd hit the teleport and jump back to my room.
That's awesome. That's some smart thinking. I never got to that point.
But unfortunately, if you hit a load screen, it resets to your hand. So
yeah. That's unfortunate. So when you crawl out of the ship, right as you're like picking up this PDA thing, I was trying to acclimate to the controls, and I don't know. This is pre-Skyrim. This game came out like literally, we didn't even say September 18th, right? September 18th, $20 by the way, and it was right, and so this is pre-Skyrim, but it's not pre-everything, right?
No,
I feel like the rules were already starting to be created at this point. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me today when I was trying to play this game.
Okay.
Here I was, 2 move controllers. I know how full locomotion works in VR.
Right.
This shouldn't be an issue, right? and I was like, wait, why? I'm turning with this hand. I'm moving with this hand. I was like, that seems wrong. I was like, and my PDA was in this hand, and my pointer finger was in this hand.
Right.
And I was like, well, that seems right. I was like, well, maybe if I switch them. And I swapped them. And then I was like, then I was even more totally backwards. So. And it's funny because when you're trying to explain, like people comment all the time. They're like, how how, like, you're using 2 move controllers. How are you using full locomotion? How are you navigating this world? And like for people who haven't played PlayStation VR and haven't, really spent time with a move controller, well, it's kind of a foreign concept to be like, hey, I'm going to push some buttons and have full locomotion and I'm going to be real agile, right? I literally right now could not tell you what buttons I press to walk and what buttons I press to turn in normal games. But whatever this game is doing,
it's not that.
There was a wire that was totally going to the wrong place when I was trying to place it, and I was like, oh man. And so you'll see in this footage, it took me the entire hour to finally acclimate to the controls, where I was like, finally, like, okay, my brain's rewired now and I can totally do everything it wants me to do, no problem. So that is kind of a little bit of a hurdle for people if you've been so used to like Skyrim, that this is going to take a minute just to kind of readjust to pre-Skyrim controls.
I will say, if you're using the teleport options like I was, it does a nice thing that some games don't do. When you get your little teleport reticle on the ground, where you move your head, there's a little pointer, so it shows you where you're going to be facing when you jump. And when you jump, you end up facing that direction, which is a nice little touch that, again, a lot of games have kind of forgotten that detail. You'll be facing this way, jump, and I'll be facing the wrong way. Yeah. I will say, too, though, it's not that crucial because there really isn't any combat in this game. There's nothing where it's going to be crucial, like you need to land this place facing this direction because you have to have split-second timing.
Yeah. This isn't Doom VFR.
Right, yeah. There are, we're not going to get into too many spoilers, but there are environmental hazards and let's call them traps that are important that you notice and you can get through, but this isn't about your fast reaction time at all.
So this, we've brought up so many things, and I kind of want to keep putting pins in things and keep going back to them, but man, we're going to run out of time eventually. So you mentioned this is kind of an open world.
Yes.
Kind of.
You can explore wherever you want and kind of do things whatever order you want, but there is a linear, you're supposed to go to A to B to C to D. Which
is mind-boggling because they don't really push you in any direction. Not really.
Well, you get that, the green thing saying, hey, this is your next. But there will be times where that...
I left the green thing off, I have to admit.
Okay.
Yeah, which was stupid. Because it's not on by default, or at least it wasn't when I was playing.
Yeah, I think it was for me.
I don't know. and when I loaded it up today, it was off, and and then it wasn't until later that I saw people talking about those options, and I was like, wow, every time I've played this game, those options have been off. Like, so I've just been wandering kind of aimlessly.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
Well, what'll happen is even if you have that, it's not on all the time. It's not like, oh, this is the next thing you need to do. It'll say...
Oh, okay, no. Yeah. Then in that case, I have had them on before.
Okay.
Then. Okay. Well, the thing is that when you're playing a survival game like this, like my favorite thing to do in Skyrim, is to look out at the world, look at my map, see places that I haven't been to yet, and go, well, I'm just going to head in that direction for like an hour, and I'm going to hit up everything along the way and find all the hidden stuff, hit up a bunch of caves, kill a bunch of things, and just do that.
Yeah.
And that's fun, man. That's really fun. And the Solus project actually has a lot of cool hidden things to find if you decide to do that. Yep. But because it's a survival game, like it's just way more difficult to do that.
It is.
You have to prepare. You have to not die, which is really hard. It's so if you're going into this thinking, oh, this looks like Skyrim-ish, it plays a lot different. You have to really, really prepare for those outings.
And there's kind of like a give and take. A lot of the game happens kind of above ground, and a lot of it happens underground.
Yeah, it's
above
like
ground,
50-50.
Yeah, above ground, resources are fairly plentiful. It's easy to find food. It's easy to find water, but the environment itself, your PDA will occasionally, you don't want to give any spoilers, but it'll say atmospheric disturbance detected. When it says that, go find shelter.
Yeah.
Not in a little bit now.
Yep.
Because bad things are about to happen. But on the flip side, in the caves, there aren't really many environmental hazards, but food and fuel and things like that are much harder to find. So you really have to, pack up your bags before you decide to start exploring the caves.
Yeah. Why doesn't our PDA have a map feature?
Right. Well, what you do have are the beacons, which you can find. They're an item, and you can find them. But the most they can do is point you to somewhere you've already been. You can drop a beacon, and it'll show on your PDA where that beacon is, which isn't really useful if you, unless you're trying to get back to. Anyways,
it's a little convoluted. If I feel like that this PDA is so useful. It tells us everything that we need to know. It can translate alien languages we've never heard of before.
Yep.
But it can't. It doesn't have GPS functionality.
Right.
What's going on? This is supposed to be the far future. And for me, that is out of any negatives we could start. We could start poking holes in this game left and right.
Yeah.
That for me lets a lot of air out of this game.
Yeah.
It's just if you gave me an auto map feature. Oh crap, man! I want to get lost in this game so much longer, but not
without the map. You can't get lost.
Well, but knowing that I'll be able to get back where I started.
Yeah,
I like getting lost, but then I like pulling up a map and being like, okay, I just need to go that direction to get home, and I don't really have that. The beacons, yeah, but
right. No, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
And I guess my biggest qualm is. It really feels like, and this is probably my attitude coming into it, it should be a Myst type game. You come into it, it's like this alien world, you have to figure out this technology, and so I've got that part of my brain running.
Yeah.
I want to come up to this bank of switches and lights, and I have no idea what it does, and try to figure it out through trial and error, which is what you do in, Myst, Ribbon, and Abduction. But the puzzles in this game aren't really that difficult. It's not, and they're not really that alien. It's just like there's literally a keyhole in this door. So I need to go find a key. So there's probably a key around here somewhere, and I'm going to walk around until I find the key. Then I'm going to walk back, and I'm going to put the key in the hole. There really aren't any... There's no time where you have to figure out how to operate a piece of machinery. Yeah. It's just, you put a lever in something and you turn it.
Yeah, I was actually today, because going back through, I haven't played this game since launch. I was going through the first cavern, and I was like, I don't think I really remember how to do this.
Yeah,
and it didn't matter.
Yeah,
because I was like, I got to a point, I was like, how do I open that big gigantic door? And I stepped forward, and I accidentally stepped on a plate.
Yeah,
that was like then opened the door, and I was like, I'm gonna go find a rock.
But then, so my negative about it is that might be more of my expectations. So if you're coming to this expecting a really clever puzzle game, it's not that.
No.
At all.
There are puzzles, but yeah, clever is not a descriptor I would use.
It's about the feeling, I think. It really captures that feeling of being alone. One thing that's fantastic, and Arizona Sunshine, you do have some voiceover, but it's not constant. It's just every once in a while something big happens and you're like, oh crap, you're talking to yourself like you would, or you occasionally either do or think you get contact with the satellite and you're kind of recording a log. But it's not this just running commentary of everything that's happening.
Right.
Which is nice because it does help to build that sense of, being alone.
We have our own commentary. We are a person with our own commentary running in our head. We don't need somebody else telling us what to think. It's I definitely agree with that quite a bit. There are a lot of moments in this game where it's just silence and you're wandering aimlessly and you're like, I don't know if I'm going the right way because I don't have a map, and it's just in the game lets you just do that.
Yeah,
and it doesn't punish you for it, and it doesn't reward you for it. It just goes, this dude just needs to explore and figure out where he needs to be. Right. And when you finally find out where you need to be, it definitely, I gotta say, it feels kind of rewarding. So when you come out of those caverns that you've been stuck in for so long, and you see daylight for the first time in like an hour and a half, you're like, oh, this is really nice.
And actually, too, I don't know if we mentioned it. There's a definite day and night cycle. There's weather patterns. There's not just like random weather events. There's actually, you can notice when things are happening if you watch the sky. And there's tides.
Yeah.
And that's really important, actually. There was a section where I was out in the outside world, and I thought I had myself a nice, safe place, and I went to bed for the night, and I woke up, and suddenly, I used to be on this nice plane. It was very easy to move around. I was stuck on an island because the tides had come up, and there was nothing I could do except either wait another 12 hours and hope for the tides to go down, or make my way across the water and hope I didn't drown.
Yeah,
I drowned.
Yeah, man, because being wet in this game is not a good thing, especially when it's cold, and hypothermia is a big issue. You get hypothermia like every 5 minutes.
And the tides work in the caves as well, which is very dangerous and scary.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things we do on the show, as we mentioned at the beginning, is look at how this game changed.
Yes.
I know this is your first time going through it, but
It
it's
is.
not my first time. I reviewed this game over on a launch day. And so the game came out on September 18th, 2017. And very shortly after, October 10th, we got patch 1.03, which brought us a PlayStation 4 Pro.
Thanks.
PlayStation 4 Pro update.
Yes.
So the graphics took a substantial leap forward using mostly super sampling, and also that brought a smooth rotation. So this didn't always have. This was all right. It didn't always have anything other than click turning. They had some UI fixes, and they said a more convenient flashlight. So if you had any issues with the flashlight, you might not now. No. And then about 2 weeks later, they updated 1.04, just fixed some bugs. The game would crash in VR randomly. They fixed that. Okay. And I guess some people had issues with corrupted save files, so they fixed that too.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and in a game like this, that's the last thing you want.
Yeah.
Because starting this over sounds like a nightmare. Because you go through some very difficult segments, and when it's over, you're like, I don't ever want to do that again. And if your save file got corrupted, well, you have to do it again.
Yeah.
Don't want to do that. And I think that pretty much covers it.
Sure. I will say, you mentioned kind of some of the bugginess.
Yeah.
There are some real glitches you want to be aware of. One that happened very early on. I went to an area where there were some bars across, and I hadn't discovered the teleport gun yet. Pardon me. I was just using the regular teleport, kind of jumping through, and I was like, I wonder if I can jump through those bars. I can. Cool. Neat. So I spent some time exploring this area, and I realized I wasn't supposed to be able to get into there.
Yeah.
Because there was no way inside that caged area to unlock it and get out. So I spent probably 45 minutes going back and forth in this relatively small cave system. Like, am I dumb? What am I missing? What am I going back and forth? And finally realizing, no, the game would just let me in someplace I shouldn't be. So watch out for things like that. And also, when you're first starting out, the way the tutorial works is it very slowly gives you the things you should do. So if you're fairly smart, like, I'll just give this away. You got to build a torch. One of the first things it shows is it teaches how to build a torch. But I was a little faster at that apparently, so I was like, oh wait, I have this stick. I've got a torch. And I did it on my own before the game told me to. But the game doesn't care that I did it.
It makes you do it again?
I have to do it when they tell me to.
Wow.
Which is a problem in a very resource-limited place. So I had to scrounge around a lot longer than I would have normally to go find another stupid pole so I could actually do it again when the game wanted me to.
Interesting.
So for the first, let's say, half hour or so, just do what the game tells you. And then after that, you're free to kind of do what you want. But you end up kind of having to do things twice if you get too ambitious. There you go.
All right. I feel like up to this point, we sort of outlined the game and the mechanics and how it plays and how it works, but we didn't really talk about how we feel about it. So, and I was like reserving how we feel about it until it's time to rate the game.
Okay. So
that being said, how do we rate games around here, Desiree?
Pretty simple scale. We have 3 levels. Number 1 is you have to buy this game. It's if you have a PSVR, it's a must-buy. It's just one of the best games of the system. It's discussion's over. Go get it. 2 is, yeah, sure, why not? If it's on sale, pick it up. If it's in a genre you particularly like, absolutely grab it. We're not going to poke fun at you for buying it. 3 is, no, do not buy this. We can't support these developers. Friends don't let friends buy crap. So 1, 2, or 3. What do you think?
As I like to do, I like to go on a big monologue before actually revealing my score. Oh yeah, kickback. This is gonna be a long haul. So, you and I talk a lot, especially about scary games, and about saying the best thing about scary games is not knowing what to expect, not knowing what the developers are capable of, not knowing what they're going to throw at you next.
Yeah.
And now, Solus Project is a creepy game. I wouldn't call it a scary game. I don't think anyone's going to classify this as a horror title.
No.
It's very creepy at points, but I don't think it's a scary game.
Okay.
But for some reason I was still thinking the same way when I was playing it. And I was like they dropped me out into this beach. It made me feel like I was playing a lost game on an alien planet, which is why we used those numbers at the beginning. That's the point of this whole thing. Whatever. It usually relates. and it just felt there was this air of mystery. And I was going around. I was doing my limited crafting. I created a torch when they told me to.
Yep.
It worked out pretty well for me.
Sorry.
and I was like, man, there's a lot of stuff going on around here. And it's not a spoiler because it happens in the first 5 minutes of the game. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, it starts raining.
Yep.
And there's a tornado. And I'm like, and I kid you not, if you have not yet seen a tornado in VR,
mm-hmm. Are there many options for that?
I don't think so. But this was the first, I think, and only tornado I've seen in VR. Yeah. And holy crap, is it scary!
Yeah,
I was like running away from the tornado. Mm-hmm. Like, oh Jesus, here it comes! I'm running toward a cave. I don't think I was doing this, but I was actually moving forward and looking over my shoulder, being like, holy crap, this thing is catching up to me. Like, I'm in serious trouble right now.
See, I had the opposite reaction. It's like, oh, that's cool. And I'm just thinking, oh, this is a neat background effect and all that. So I just stood there. And let it come. And, oh, I died.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You got to see it up close and personal.
I did.
So, it's that kind of thing where, like, the game doesn't let you play it very long without the developer going, hey, Brian, this is what we're capable of. And I was like, oh, crap. I'm in for pretty much anything in this game. And I will say that although there are long periods of time where, like, kind of nothing happens, mm-hmm. and a lot of the environments aren't nearly as interesting as that first beach.
Yeah.
With, like, all the cool stuff on it. It's knowing that the developers were capable of that first few minutes. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, I don't know what I'm in for, and it kind of kept me on my edge of my seat even during the more lackluster moments. Yeah. I will say that personally, I think the first half of this game, this game is loaded in the first half, and it's more
definitely
not a letdown the second half, but it's a little bit more of a slog. Mm-hmm. I mean, man, I'm just trying to think of like all the things that I omitted during our discussion.
Yeah.
But like, it's a beautiful game, especially on the Pro. If you haven't played this thing on the Pro, it's a good looking game even on the PS4 proper. Mm-hmm. But on the Pro, man, I started up today. I was like, this is just a fantastic looking game. The number of games I've played that give you these big open areas that don't look nearly as good as this.
Yeah. Archangel. Hello.
Oh, see, I put again on the Pro. Archangel is beautiful.
Yeah.
But man, this is a fantastic looking game. And once I got used to the controls, I was like, I didn't want to put it down. I was like, I had to go to work and I had things to do, and I was like, I just want to keep playing the Solus project for the rest of the day instead of all the things I have to do.
Yeah.
It's a very small development team.
Mm-hmm.
A development team of like 6 to 8 people roughly, or some depending on when in development, but roughly 6 to 10 I think at any given point. And it's a $20 game that often goes on sale for like $8.
Yeah.
It's a 1. It's a 1. It's not a perfect game. It's not a masterpiece, but for what it is,
mm-hmm.
I can't think of too many people that wouldn't enjoy this.
Yeah, I don't think it's a 1 for me. I think it's really great. I think it's incredibly impressive that such a small team can do this, and they're only asking $20 for this. I mean, that's great. For those of you like, oh, we need longer games in VR. Well, here you go. I mean, even in their FAQ, they say 12 hours, but I would say that's 12 hours if you know exactly what you're doing and you go through and do everything. To find everything is probably, they say 20 plus hours. I can't imagine it's only 20 hours to find everything in this game.
I'm thinking if you want to find everything,
yeah.
you're in it for 40 hours.
I that would be my guess, yeah. That being said, I don't think the group of people this game isn't for is impatient gamers. If you just want to get to your story and do that, yeah. This is going to sound like a negative, but this is a £1 of story in a £10 game.
True.
You've got a lot of stuff you're doing in between finding out what's going on. So if just getting through the plot is really what's the most important thing to you, and just that kind of, the random exploring Brian was talking about, if that doesn't appeal to you, if you were like, me the first time I played Skyrim and just fast travel, maybe this isn't for you.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff. Now,
and I hate to interject during your turn to talk, but you can turn that difficulty slider all the way down.
Right.
So if you are just in it for the story and you don't want to die every 5 minutes, you don't want to learn to survive in this world, then you can turn that slider all the way down and all the survival elements just go away.
Yeah.
And I will not make fun of you if you do that. because different people enjoy different things about different games, and I sort of give the developers props for allowing different people to play this game different ways.
Well, not only that, on the PC versions, and then we get a little touch of that because of our control, but if you go into the FAQ, there are even more options, and not only that, he basically tells you, oh no, we have cheat codes built in, just try everything you want, starting with SOL. And also he says, and there's all this graphical stuff that we wanted to put in the menus, but we just didn't have time, so you can change the FOV, you can change all this stuff. Because, and they say exactly that. You can cheat as much as you want because we want you to have the experience you want to when you're playing the game.
Nice.
Which I really respect that from a developer. All that taken into account, I think this is a really solid 2 for me. If an exploration type game or creepy, not necessarily horror game, that appeals to you, check it out. If you're a science fiction fan, definitely check it out. But if you need your like fast thrill, twitchy fingers, going crazy, it's not for you.
Yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. That you're right. I feel like if people gave it enough time, they could appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess if you're not willing to give it the time, then maybe it's not for you.
Yeah, and I do want to be clear. 2 is not a negative. Like 2 is not a negative.
2 is actually a pretty damn good score.
2 is great. I'm glad I played it. I'm glad it's in my library. I'm not. I don't feel angry that it's in there. So let's be clear about that. This is not. Like it's not like Brian loves it and Des hates it. No, 3 is hate. So yeah, this is a solid 2. I think it's a great game. I think if it's the kind of game you're going to like, you're really going to like this one.
Yeah. And if you're unsure, then certainly wait for a sale because it seems to be on sale every single time there's a sale, and it's always like $8 with PlayStation Plus.
And I also say the developer is very responsive in Reddit threads and things like that. Yeah. And they've said over and over again, if this sells well, there will be more coming. So
let's hope there's more coming because this is pretty damn good. All right, you guys. So that's going to pretty much do it for another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. In the comments below, as always, we want to know what you think of the Solus project. Did you play it with full locomotion? Have you played it since the Pro patch? Did you beat it? Oh. Did you turn the difficulty slider all the way down?
There was someone. Apparently, they had this question enough. It had to go in the FAQs. When will the multiplayer patch be coming out?
To what now? Yeah, it's single player.
And the developer even said this was developed as a single player experience, so never.
Yeah. Also, what other games do you want to talk about?
I want Solus Deathmatch.
We're just gonna hit each other with PDAs?
No, just take your food.
That might work. What other games do you want to talk about? The only reason we talked about the Solus project this week is because you guys requested it. I mean, like, really, really, really requested it every week. It's like, just do the Solus project already. We're like, we're listening, we swear, but we have to play it first. It does. Yeah. So what game do you want us to play? What game do you want us to talk about? That's how things work around here.
Yeah.
All right, for another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR, I'm Brian Paul.
I'm Des.
And we'll see you next week.